This is an extreme tragic and heartbreaking incident. A scene like that is something that nobody should ever have to see.
Quote, say goodbye to your kids. It's chilling. And those are the alleged words a North Dakota mom said to
Say goodbye to your kids. 5 words captured on a cell phone video, now entered into a probable cause affidavit in Burleigh County, North Dakota. The document does not editorialize. It simply records what 22-year-old Hehart allegedly told her husband before she locked the door.
On arrival, officers heard assault happening inside the home and forced their way in.
Now, here's what the probable cause affidavit says happened next. Quote, a patrol officer entered the residence to find the children's mother, Kaylee Hehart, holding a knife to her throat. Kaylee was covered in blood across her upper body and pants. Kaylee dropped the knife and ordered officers to kill her. The patrol officer described the knife as a kitchen knife with a longer blade.
Picture a kitchen knife with a longer blade, still smeared, dropped onto the floor of a home in Mandan at 5:02 p.m. on August 6th. That knife didn't appear from nowhere. It was grabbed from inside that house while the father and grandmother were chased out of the residence with it, forced into the front yard, frantic, telling arriving officers, she's in the residence.
Laying motionless on a bed in a bedroom directly off of the living room across from the front door. The children were covered in blood. The patrol officer noted that the blood was mainly concentrated near the neck area of all 3 children. According to police,
the patrol officer who forced entry found Hehart with the knife to her own throat, covered in blood across her upper body and pants. She dropped the knife. She ordered the officers to kill her. They did not. They detained her and moved deeper into the house.
Laying motionless on a bed in a bedroom directly off of the living room across from the front door. The children were covered in blood. The patrol officer noted that the blood was mainly concentrated near the neck area of all 3 children. According to police, 2 of the children, 3-year-old Morgan Hehart and 5-month-old Ava Hehart, succumbed to their injuries at the hospital, allegedly murdered by their own mom, while a 1-year-old child, 1-year-old, had surgery.
Then they found what she had done before she turned the blade on herself. 3 children, all under the age of 4, laying motionless on a bed in a bedroom directly off the living room. The officer noted the blood was mainly concentrated near the neck area of all 3 children, 3-year-old Morgan, 5-month-old Ava, a 1-year-old whose name the affidavit protects.
Advised that during the incident, Kaylee had been threatening him with a firearm. The husband advised that he had collected video on his cell phone and he was able to show officers the videos. This included a video showing Kaylee carrying a child believed to be 5-month-old Ava with a pistol pointed at her hip, pointed to the ground. The husband told police that Kaylee then said, quote, say goodbye to your kids. The husband advised that he was able to get the firearm from Kaylee, disassemble the handgun, and throw the pieces throughout the house.
That cell phone video the husband showed officers. It is the core of the state's narrative. The affidavit says it shows Hehart carrying 5-month-old Ava, a pistol pointed downward at the child's hip. Then the words say goodbye to your kids. A threat documented in real time. The state will call it evidence of knowing and intentional conduct. The word premeditation now sits in the court file, typed in plain text.
Past. Kaylee had made comments regarding killing herself as well as their children. He also advised that he had made plans to divorce Kaylee within the past couple of months. These plans included, quote, a separation. This involved the husband engaging in sexual activities with other women. He also advised that Kaylee knew about these relationships and had made comments about killing herself and the children. Burleigh County Social Services.
The husband did not just hand over a video. He gave detectives a timeline of collapse. He told them Hehart had previously made comments about killing herself and the children. He told them he had made plans to divorce her, plans that included a separation and sexual relationships with other women, which Hehart knew about. He told them he had informed mental health services of her statements. Burleigh County Social Services became involved. Child Protective Services was aware.
Services became involved after the husband had informed mental health services of these comments. The husband also had made mention to officers that Kaylee had been committed to mental health services in the past. No date was known exactly, but estimated to be within 12 to 18 months prior to the time of the incident. The husband advised that CPS was aware of the comments, but Kaylee had been on medication and cleared to be with the children.
He also told police Hehart had been committed to mental health services in the past, estimated within 12 to 18 months prior. But here is the sentence that stops you cold. CPS was aware of the comments, But Kay had been on medication and cleared to be with the children. The paperwork already knew.
They are both the parents of these kids, of the victims. And there was allegedly a physical altercation that led up to these murders that we'll talk about. And we're also going to break down where the investigation goes from here. How do you even begin an investigation like this? Lisa Miller, former detective and chief investigator, will be here just a little later to make sense of, or at least try to make sense of, this really tragic situation. So I want to...
Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Trial Crime, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. Now back to the timeline.
More specifically, a Glock brand handgun. And police said that text messages between the couple lead them to believe that the purchase was made just 2 days before the murders. So the husband, to some extent, knowing about these alleged mental health issues she was having, but also
2 days before the murders, text messages show Hehart bought a Glock handgun from a store in Bismarck. The husband knew she had bought it. He disassembled it during a struggle, threw the pieces across the house. He thought the threat was over.
He then said that Kaylee then locked him out of the house. The husband also told police that while he was wrestling Hehart for the gun, she had scratched and bit him, and officers observed those injuries. Now, I'll also add that police said the gun was eventually recovered from the home. Now, remember, the children's grandmother was also allegedly on scene during the incident, another witness. Police interviewed her as well. Quote, the grandmother told a detective that while in the residence, Kaylee had...
It wasn't. She locked him out. Then she walked into the kitchen and found the knife. The grandmother told a detective Hehart had chased both her and the children's father out of the residence with a knife. Hehart later confirmed this to the sergeant. She remembered chasing them. What she told police she could not remember, or would not say, is what happened to the children.
That she had placed the bodies of the 3 children on the bed inside the residence, and she believed she was the only one inside the residence when this happened. Kaylee advised that she believed the children's throats had been cut prior to her placing the kids on the bed. Kaylee further advised that she remembered having the knife in her hands when police arrived, though she did not remember everything that happened.
Here is the exact language from the affidavit. Kay advised that she had placed the bodies of the 3 children on the bed inside the residence, and she believed she was the only one inside the residence when this happened. Kay advised that she believed the children's throats had been cut prior to her placing the kids on the bed. Kay further advised that she remembered having the knife in her hands when police arrived, though she did not remember everything that happened.
The husband has a video of her holding one of the children, holding a firearm in her hand, saying, say goodbye to your children. That can go to the knowingly and intentionally component of a murder. It can go to premeditation, that she was thinking clear enough ahead of time to know, and she was making this threat to him that she was going to kill the children. In the interview room, us detectives were asking questions.
That memory gap is where the legal fight will be waged. Former Chief Investigator Lisa Miller broke it down. The video of Hehart holding the child, issuing the threat, that goes to knowingly and intentionally. Premeditation, clarity of thought. The detective in the interview room has one bite at the apple. The questions about medication, about whether she heard voices, about whether she knew right from wrong. All of that has to be asked then, because the prosecutor likely will never get a second chance to ask.
You can suffer from mental illness, which is a real thing, a real diagnosis. We're learning more and more about it all the time. But I fall on the side of accountability and justice. If you knew what you're doing, if you're making threats, and this woman, by all accounts...
Lisa Miller also said this. You can suffer from mental illness, which is a real thing, a real diagnosis. But I fall on the side of accountability and justice. If you knew what you were doing, if you're making threats, and this woman, by all accounts, was under a lot of pressure, but she purchased a gun. Once he disassembled the gun, she went and sought another weapon.
Of thought here, because once he disassembled the gun, she went and sought another weapon. So why I think mental health needs to be, from my perspective, taken into account and considered, obviously so. I think we...
That pivot from firearm to knife, after the first weapon was neutralized, is what the prosecution will build around. It is the sequence they will argue converts tragedy into act.
Children.
We can share that the 5-month-old and the 3-year-old have passed away. The 1-year-old is still being treated at a local hospital.
Miraculously, one of the kids survived, but now the suspect's family and the community are left with a ton of unanswered questions. Most important,
Morgan Hehart, age 3, died at the hospital. A doctor noted a laceration on her wrist consistent with a defensive wound. Ava Hehart, age 5 months, died at the hospital. The 1-year-old underwent surgery and survived. The paperwork already knew.
after interviewing all of the parties involved, officers decided to charge Kaylee Hehart with 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, 2 counts of terrorizing with a dangerous weapon, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and a misdemeanor count of domestic violence. Now, based on the murder charges alone, Hehart faces a maximum sentence of life in prison without parole. So where does the legal process now stand? So Hehart is currently being held in the Burleigh Morton Detention Center on a $3 million bond. KFYR Television was able to get video.
Kaylee Hehart now faces 2 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, 2 counts of terrorizing with a dangerous weapon, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and 1 misdemeanor count of domestic violence. She is held on a $3 million bond. Her preliminary hearing is scheduled for October 6th. Trial is currently set for February 1st, 2027.
All the things that I mentioned earlier, they're going to be talking to everyone that knows her. They want to be able to try to give the prosecution as clear a picture as possible. What was the mental health of this woman actually like? It's going to be hard to get some of the medical records. There's some protections. They'll be coordinating with the prosecutor's office to see what records they can get. But there's a lot of...
The investigation will now expand outward. Detectives will interview friends, co-workers, anyone in her orbit. They will pull firearm purchase records. They will attempt to access medical records, coordinating with prosecutors on what they can legally obtain. They are looking for the answer to one question that sits at the bottom of this case file like a stone.
This quote, Kaylee advised the sergeant that she had placed the bodies of the 3 children on the bed inside the residence, and she believed she was the only one inside the residence when this happened. Kaylee advised that she believed the children's throats had been cut prior to her placing the kids on the bed. Kaylee further advised that she remembered having the knife in her hands when police arrived, though she did not remember everything that happened. So it seems like...
But here is what remains unanswered. The system knew, the husband reported the threats, CPS investigated, the medication was prescribed, she was cleared, and 12 to 18 months later, she bought a Glock on a Thursday and used a kitchen knife on the following Thursday. What broke between the clearance and the purchase? The paperwork already knew.
Very eye-opening details about their relationship and Hehart's alleged mental health struggles. Quote, the husband advised throughout the past, Kaylee had made comments regarding killing herself as well as their children. He also advised that he had made plans to divorce Kaylee within the past couple of months. These plans included, quote, a separation. This involved the husband engaging in sexual activities with...
The probable cause affidavit for Kaylee Hehart is now public record in Burleigh County. That document contains the statements from the husband, the grandmother, and Hehart herself. Pull it, read the timeline, and then answer this in the comments. At what point in this sequence of known warnings and documented threats did the system fail these 3 children? Was it when she was cleared, when the gun was purchased, or when the first weapon was taken away and no one was left inside to see what she would reach for next?
You, Chris?
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and we're also now streaming on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart.
If you want to see how this case unfolds at the preliminary hearing in October, make sure you like this video, share it, subscribe to Trial Crime, and turn on notifications. We'll be watching the docket.